Yes, it's true. We are that house on the block, the house that goes overboard at every holiday. Welcome to Lamb Living. My name is Holly Lamb, and I am having all kinds of fun this October. We got some new blow-ups, and we repaired some of the old ones, and it's time to decorate the front porch. So off to the Goodwill bins I go to search for all kinds of goodies. The bins have been good to me this fall. Look at these beautiful florals that I've found. It's almost like on a Sunday afternoon they put out all the good crafting supplies because they just know I'm coming. And I just can't help it just to fill up my cart.
I'm here at my Goodwill bins and I'm looking for flannel. Let's see what I can find.
Jackpot. I found lots of flannel. I found flannel sleeping pants. I found flannel shirts. I found lots of blankets, scarves. I found Christmas flannel. I found the fall flannels. Sweaters. I got a few sweaters. And that's a sheet. Yeah, and a tablecloth. There's a couple of scarves. And I even found this map of Scotland. Look at the bright colors on that tea towel. Beautiful. So much fun. All right, so I'm going to be using my flannel shirts to decorate these pillows. Now, these pillows I made right before the 4th of July to go into the chairs out on my porch. I made them from these bags. I got these bags when I was out and about shopping yes, look at the price, $1.49, $1.50 for these gorgeous thick bags. I was shopping at a store named City Trends, and I was looking for, you never know what you're going to find there, so I was out looking around, and they had these bags with this beautiful print on them for $1.50, so I got a few of them, and I came home, and I pushed in a lot of my old pillows into them, and then I took my Gorilla Glue sticks, and I sealed them shut with hot glue. There on the seam, I'd cut off the handles, and they were beautiful all summer long. They looked fantastic. So I decided to give them a little makeover for fall, and I put a little flannel shirt on him. He looks like he's sitting in the chair there. That's about as macabre as I'm going to go. I'm not much of a Halloween decorator, but headless pillow shirts sitting in the chairs is about as scary as I get. And these flannel shirts were perfect. And I can use those pillows again. And I'm going to make more of those pillows. That was a good deal right there. And they have lasted for lots of very hot months down here in humid Georgia. And they stood the test of time. Thank you, Gorilla Glue Sticks. Now, I didn't want the heads, the little neck part, to show the pillow because you'll see on this red one especially, it looks a little bit like it's a bloody... it's bloody, and so we don't want that. Look right here. Ugh. Yeah, no. So we had, I got one of the scarves out to stick down in there, and I thought about putting raffia in there and make it look a little bit more like Scarecrow, but then I thought, no, let's just keep it simple. And from far away, they just look like flannel covers for the pillows, so I thought that was nice. Now, I tried this one long ways. That's how they sat in the chairs this summer. But then I thought, no, I want it to be a little taller. So I turned it back around. Yeah, that one had a drawstring, so I pulled it tight. And I tied the sleeves up in the front. Now, I can still use these shirts if I want to. If I want to cut them up and make a rag wreath or something like that, we could very easily do that. And they look so cute out on the front porch. I made a few more. There they are in the chairs. Goodness, aren't they cute? And I didn't use the real bright colors. That yellow one is probably about as bright as it gets. And there's Toby. If I'm out on the porch, that's where he sits. Sweet thing. And so I used kind of the muted colors on the flannel. And probably we might be able to use those Christmas flannels, but most of the Christmas flannels, the Christmas color ones, were sleep pants. And it was hard to find shirts in that, but those flannel pants were very easy to find at the bins. And the bins in my city, in Brunswick, they're by the pound. So everything was by the pound. So I'm always in search of things that are light and that fill up my cart for as light as possible. And there's the back, looking out onto my neighbors who all say they love my blow-ups, but behind closed doors, we'll see. October is also my future son-in-law's birthday month. So I decided to do something a little different in this video and add in a cake. I'm going to make this simple cake recipe. It's a Duncan Hines recipe. There are 3 ingredients. I'll link that recipe below in the description box. It is a Duncan Hines spice cake mix, and honestly, you can use any cake mix. And since this is not sponsored by Duncan Hines, you could use any cake mix. But a spice cake mix, a can of apple pie filling, and 3 eggs. And I use large eggs. And then you mix it up. And, you mix it till it's mixed, maybe a minute, minute and a half. You don't have to go too far. And there we go. I mixed up a little bit of a kind of a sugary coating. So I used brown sugar, and cinnamon. And I didn't use any, I used just a little bit of Pam for it to stick to. This is a non-stick bundt pan. So I didn't really need to do that step. But it makes a nice crust for the bundt pan or the bundt cake when it comes out. And I also am going to put some of that sugar mixture in the middle just to make it extra sweet, because it's his birthday and he's extra sweet. So he needs that. This is his favorite cake. I made this for him. The first time I made this cake was last year for his birthday, and he liked it so well. That's what he asked for this time. So that was an easy day of baking for me. I am going to make a cream cheese icing for it. I have all the ingredients out. I have my cream cheese and butter coming to room temperature, but I'm still going to have to stick it in the microwave for a few seconds. You'll see here in just a minute. So I just, the secret to, of course, this is the nonstick bundt pan, but if you use any kind of pan, when you're putting your batter into the cake pan, never touch the floured and greased edges of the cake pan, and it'll come out every time without sticking. The places where it sticks is if you touch that greased part on your cake pan. Never want to do that. Now I wiped off the extra sugar because I don't want that to burn, so that's what I'm doing there while it's baking. I'm baking it said the recipe says 350. I like to always bake a little bit lower than what the recipe says. So I think I'm baking at 340, maybe 335. And I just set my timer there for 30 minutes. And I will be checking it before then. But 30 minutes, it's supposed to be 35 minutes, I think the recipe says. But I don't think it takes that long. Maybe it's my oven. Everybody's oven's a little bit different. But my oven likes to cook things fast. So I have to watch it. It is a convection oven. It is not gas. It is electric. So I'm going to put my cream cheese and butter, because I just got them out of the refrigerator. I'm going to microwave that for just a few seconds. And I don't want it melted. I just want it softened. And then I'll put it there into my KitchenAid and add a little bit of vanilla. I'm like my grandmother. I don't measure vanilla. I just put it in. I probably put a tablespoon in. Yep, there it goes. And then we're going to use 1 bag, which is 2 pounds of confectioner's sugar. I used 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, and then 1 stick, which is a quarter cup of butter. And basically that's my buttercream recipe. And then we're going to use milk. But I was out of milk because we just got back from Tennessee, and all I had was my non-dairy creamer. And there it is. It's this sweet Italian sweet creamer. And that's what I'm going to stick in there for the milk. Yum. So tastes good in my coffee and tastes good in cream cheese frosting. No problems. Again, I kind of imbibe my grandmother when I'm cooking. Good times. All right. You can't go wrong with cream cheese icing. I check it once, and no, it was still jiggly. So it's time to put my cream cheese frosting in a piping bag because I'm going to make some swirls on the cake. Make it extra special since it is his birthday. Very nice. That's a cobbler that I stick into one of those bags. I get those at Walmart. You can get bags at the Dollar Tree, but I believe I got that. That's a bigger one. I'm pretty sure that's a Walmart bag. They have a whole Wilton section at my Walmart, and most Walmarts, I think, they have those. They also have Wilton at Hobby Lobby. You can get that, and they do put that on sale every other week, the cake decorating stuff. So I fold it over my hand, and then I fold it up. I go and get a little Twix-It clip and put at the end. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. It just makes it easy for me. And I'm going to take another skewer and poke at it. Nope, still too wet. Now, I have edited this, and that was not right next to one another. That is another skewer. That's not the same skewer. I'm very particular about my cleanliness when I'm baking. So it was clean, the second skewer. And so I'm going to leave it out to cool. Yep. So now it's all cool. I'm going to flip it out there on that Dollar Tree plate so that Hope and Chandler can take that home with them when he comes over after they go out to dinner on his birthday and we have a little piece of cake. They can take it home with them because we do not need it in our house, that's for sure. I will eat it because it is yummy. 3 ingredients, yummy. It is a delicious cake. And so I'm going to just put some swirls on this. I'm using a skewer to open up that flower tip. It's actually a star tip. And I'm going to do swirls, and I wanted big swirls because I'm not icing this cake other than this. I wanted the bundt cake. You know, I've put this sugar crust inside the cake pan, and so it looks nice. So I'm just going to put some swirls on the sides and on the top. And then if anybody wants extra icing, they can just take the bag and squirt it right on their plate. That's what we do here at home, at the Lamb home. If you want extra icing, there's usually icing to be had in a bag somewhere. All right, so I'm just going to put a few more swirls on that, and that is going to be done. And I could kick myself. We did not take a picture with Chandler and his cake. That is so unlike me. So I just put this cute picture of he and Hope, my daughter, when they went to the Georgia game a couple weekends ago. They had a wonderful time, and Georgia did win. All right, so back to the DIYs. I'm going to be using lots of different things I've got out here. I've got some of my LED candles that I put new batteries in, and some books, a little truck, some florals. I'm not sure what I'm going to use. I got out some of the Dollar Tree burlap leaves and some pine cones. I got at Michael's on 80% off on stems. And those little fabric pumpkins at the Dollar Tree this year, good stuff. Those are so doggone cute. Love it. All right, so we are ready to start work on my living room hutch. We've got everything we need. I got my ladder there, and Toby's on the carpet, so we're ready. And we're going to use these little gnomes I got at the Dollar General first. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. They look like they're all ready to go trick-or-treating. So we're going to, and they're a little colorful for me. So I'm going to use this Dixie Belle vintage duck egg that I got at this darling little antique store in Churchill, Tennessee. When we were in Tennessee, this is real close to where my parents live, and that little antique store had darling little thrifted antique finds. I'm sure they do a lot of thrifting, which I love, and they were so sweet in there, but they had a whole wall of Dixie Belle paints, stains, wax. They had IOD stamps, and they had the koi one on half off I got for $10, and I was just in hog heaven over there. That I also got some stencils and just some darling little things, and they had some I collect salt and pepper shakers, and they had some real cute ones. All right, so we are going to put white wax on this vintage duck egg. And I had to do one full coat and then about a half of a coat, because that mineral chalk paint, that Dixie Belle mineral chalk paint, is just goes on super smooth. I loved it. I may send my mom back over to that store, pick up a few more colors before she comes down for the winter. They snowbird down here, and they'll be down in a few weeks. I may send her back to Churchill. I may have to get a few more colors. And so our little gnomies are getting their little white wax treatment. You can see the white wax is sinking into all those cracks and crevices. I wipe it off. I paint it on, and then I wipe off, and it all stays in those little detailed edges. And oh my goodness, there they are, sitting on, actually that's my foyer table where trick-or-treaters will see. I've got my little trick-or-treat sign, and I've got my little squirrel and my little hedgehog. And speaking of hedgehogs, I'm going to put a little hedgehog on this wood round. I'm painting it with the vintage duck egg, Dixie Belle, as well, because I tried to antique wax it. It had a flaw on it, and I wanted to use it for a little riser. And so I was going to antique wax it with the antique wax, but the flaw was not to be covered. It just was being stubborn. And so opaque paint it is. So that vintage duck egg was perfect for that little spot. I love it so much. So I wanted to do a little bit of sanding. I wanted to get off on the edges, all remnants of that antique wax, and give it a nice smooth finish. So we are going to be using some transfers that I ordered from Amazon. And so transfers like to go on to a little bit of a finish. And so I'm just going to put a very light coat of Mod Podge as my finishing layer. And so that didn't take long, and it dries super quick. Now you saw that little bit of shine. That is matte Mod Podge, but we all know that matte Mod Podge does have a little bit of a sheen to it. So I just took off some of the sheen there. And there they are. I've used these before in one of my, I think it was the 5 Under 5, I do believe in September I used these on a wall hanging. So you see I've taken some cuts out of it. But I'm going to piece together an adorable little woodland scene with that hedgehog. I'm kind of partial to hedgehogs right now. They're so cute for fall. But I wanted to show you how if you get transfers, don't feel like you have to use it the way it comes. I am going to cut these into within an inch of their lives, and I'm going to piece together the scene that I want. And it's got the cutest little mushrooms. And hiding under those mushrooms are all kinds of snails. I cut out a few snails, I'm not going to lie. There were a lot of snails in that woodland scene. I left a few in, but not all of them. And so that one right there has a beautiful little fern that I'm going to place on the edge. See, I just didn't like the way it was. So I'm going to cut that fern out, and I'll put it in later at a different angle. And so that's where I start doing my transferring with the tool that they give. Actually, I don't think that is the tool. I think that's a Pampered Chef scraper that I used. Oh, goodness. Well, this little woodland creatures always makes me think of the scripture from Matthew 6, where Jesus is preaching the Sermon on the Mount about not worrying. And it says in verse 25, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry." And those are words from our Lord himself, from Matthew 6:25, and I read through 31. All right, so that little scene makes me think of how we should not worry. Look how beautiful the Lord takes care of us, for sure. All right, I did give it a little sanding with one of my nail files, just to really put it into that paint. I like to make it look like it's always been painted on there. And so now I'm just going to give them some little birch legs. And you know, this little wood round is not made out of birch wood, but I don't mind mixing some of the woods together. I think it looks kind of fun and eclectic. So I'm just going to use these. I love these little stems. It's funny how one bag has all the same size and the same height in it, but then the next bag you go to at the Dollar Tree, and they could be long and skinny, but yet they're all going to be the same length and all going to be the same width. It's funny how that happens, but they make perfect little riser legs. Oh my goodness, look how cute. And our beautiful little mushrooms, and if you look real closely, you'll see a couple of snails. I did take a few out, I'm not going to lie. And there are those ferns. I just put them in at different angles. All right. Now I have 2 pumpkins here from the Dollar Tree. These are the monogram pumpkins that they have out right now. And I love the way they look as is. They look great. But I wanted to, with all the copper and the bronze elements that I'm adding to my fall decorations this year, I wanted to add a little bit of color to go with it. This is Waverly's Pumpkin Chalk Paint from Walmart. And I'm going to use that white wax. This is the Folk Art white wax, I believe. I get that at Hobby Lobby. You can also get Waverly's white wax. It's very similar. It has kind of a off-white ivory sheen to it. So it says white wax, but it really means it's kind of an off-white. And so I wanted to see what it would do with this pumpkin chalk paint. Now on the L pumpkin, I only put 1 coat of the Waverly pumpkin chalk paint. And then I white waxed. And then I wiped back the white wax so as to bring out some of that natural color that came before I started painting, which I love so much already. Now on the G pumpkin, I did paint it 3 coats of the pumpkin, then the white wax, and you see it right there, and it has a beautiful milky sheen to it. It's lovely. And there is the L pumpkin, and it is not as orange. It has more of those natural tones to it with a little hint of orange. I like them both, but they just look a little bit different. Now there are those 2 little pumpkins from the Dollar Tree that I white waxed, including the stem that was gold, and it looks great. All right, now we're outside. You caught a little glimpse of my blue basket, and we're going to continue our search of all things made better by white wax with this little wicker basket that I'm painting that Evening Navy Ultra Matte by Rust-Oleum, and I gave it a couple of coats outside with the spray paint along with a few other things. I like to spray paint several things at one time. And now I'm giving it a very liberal coat of white wax, lots of wax there. And then I'm going to rub that wax back and continue rubbing the extra wax up onto that handle. I'll use that for the extra that I'm rubbing off the body of the basket here. And look how pretty that makes it. We're still going to see that nice dark navy. It's just going to soften it a little bit. I'm going to work around the different slats and the bands on that basket, and it just gives it a beautiful, softer look. Trying to get in between the slats there so that it's all nice and evening, and voila, beautiful. I love that. I have lots of navy in my living room. We just got a new couch, and it has navy in it, and the carpet has navy. And so just to keep that navy theme going, I got this little cute metal sign at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the twine. I'm going to leave it on the handle side like it's pulling. We're pulling that little wagon with its 3 cute little pumpkins in there down to the pumpkin patch, or maybe away from the pumpkin patch. And I got that package of bows at Walmart last year on clearance. I have a couple of packs of those that I got on clearance last year. So I think I paid $1 for that pack. Got it 75% off. So always lots of that to be had after Christmas, of the wrappings and the trimmings like that. They never sell out of that sort of thing. So there's always lots of good sales to be had the day after Christmas. And there it is. And you're catching a glimpse of my bronze there. Do you see those tiles in the background? I take my bronze metallic Rust-Oleum spray paint there. Pretty metallic. And I'm going to spray paint those tiles from the Family Dollar, that bronze color. And it only takes one coat. This coats very well on these little tiles. And those I get at Family Dollar because they're still just $1. You can get the exact same thing at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, of course. And then those branches, those came off of some bushes that my husband dug up in the front yard, and that's where the blow-ups are right now, where those bushes were. And he saved me some branches, and I painted those the metallic Rust-Oleum spray. Has that bronze and copper color, and you see it there in the background. And look at that little stack of pumpkins. It got its whitewashing, and when Christmas comes, I'm turning that around and making that into a snowman. It looks just like a snowman on the back sides. It's so cute. And there's our little blue basket, all white waxed, and white wax wins again. It always makes things look better. So far, so good. There's our two little pumpkins with their little white wax. You see how that brings out that little leaf pattern in that pumpkin and makes that white one just a little bit more ivory colored. And the gold that was already there, it gives it a little bit of a softness to it. So pretty. And there's more of those bronze sticks in the background with our tiles. I put a few of the sticks on top of that book stack. And our little happy fall, y'all. I truly do say that sort of thing. So that suits me just fine. And as we work our way up, we see our L there. And I have family on the candle with the little lamb sitting beside it. And that beautiful glass pumpkin was given to me by my sister-in-law, Vanessa. So I love it and put it out again this year in the hutch. It looks great. There's more of the tiles with the bronzy, coppery color on it. Just beautiful. And the top of the hutch looks great. You can see all the pretty things. You can see that eucalyptus that I gave a little bit of a light spray to. And here's our little friend, our little owl. That's another one of those owls you get. He's going to get plastered. He's going to get plaster painted on him, just like this G pumpkin that I made for Hope. That's a candle, so I'm waxing all the edges before I give it a little whitewash with that plaster chalk paint. I've got a little bit of the plaster paint out on that paper plate, and I've got water in it as well, so it's quite a bit watered down. So I'm going to paint that on this wood pumpkin that I have waxed, and then we're going to wipe it back like it is wax, like I used the white wax, and it's going to give it a nice chalky finish to it. So pretty. And I'll do that to the back as well because I want to make this two-sided. I don't know where she's going to set it, so I want to make sure it looks good on both sides. And very nice. I wrapped some twine, jute twine around the stem there, and it looks so pretty. The G does. And then our little friend, our little owl from the Dollar Tree, they always have these little ceramics every once in a while, and they are textured. So I'm going to give it 3 coats of plaster chalk paint by Waverly, and then I'm going to take my nail file there. Those nail files I ordered from Amazon, and they are not a very fine grit. They have a nice coarse grit to them, and so they work very well on something like this. And so all I'm doing is working over anything that sticks out. All the little details that stick out just brings that darkness back to it. and makes our little owl have a little face and his little nose and his feathers that I'm bringing out there on the sides. So pretty, so rustic, and so clean, such a clean, lovely whitish, off-white look to it, which matches my hutch. Just perfect, sitting there on his little burlap leaf. I love it. He really is a friend. Looks so beautiful, and I paired that there with a silver leaf candy dish that I got when I was out at the thrift store. I like to mix metals, and so I've got my bronze and copper tiles there, gold plate, have all those different metals that look so pretty together. I just love it. So the hutch is looking all fallish and fun. Got my LED candles on timers, and Toby's just happy to be around, hanging out there. He's always near by my side. So I wanted to show you this, if you'll indulge me. I stuffed one of my husband's shirts. We are both from East Tennessee, and so I put that out there. Tennessee's having a pretty good year. We hadn't had one in a while, so we're all pretty proud of it. Family and friends gather here. Beautiful sign, a beautiful sentiment. Now there's Hope off to a Halloween party. She's been up in my craft room making headband ears. She's Toto. Her friends, they all dressed up like the Wizard of Oz, and she got to be Toto. So there she goes. What happens on the porch stays on the porch. That is truth. There's our little thrifted pillows there with their little thrifted covers for fall. And so now we're back out in the front yard with all of our little blow-up friends. Here's my little Halloweenie. That was the name on the box. Reminds me of my sweet Savannah. I've had 2 dachshunds, Savannah and Lucy. And so that reminds me of our sweet dachshunds. And there's that scarecrow with a crow on his arm. Not scared at all. Because we're not scary here at the Lamb Home. But we do love to get our trick-or-treaters when they come. We love to treat them a little bit. And there's our big Bubba and our little 3-stack. Looking so cheerful and smiling at everybody who passes by. We keep the blow-ups up 24/7. They never deflate. We keep them up all the time. They show up nicely at nighttime, but we like to give a show during the daytime as well. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love to read them. So from the blue house on the corner, overflowing with fall fun inside and out. God bless you and your family, and see you next time.